So yesterday I was visited by renowned author and food writer Neva Martel, and we did a little bit of foraging, and I talked about how I made mugwort shortbread for his arrival. And a few of you asked if I had a recipe. The recipe that I used was really a mashup between how I knew mugwort functions and a traditional Scottish recipe done by the famous late Mr. Paul's Pantry out of the UK. Really, my only change from his recipe was when I dusted the sugar on the top of the shortbread. I used demerara sugar and some blitzed mugwort, and I also added, I'd say, about 2 tablespoons of mugwort powder into the flour when I made the shortbread. As with any herb, if you use mugwort fresh, you're gonna need twice as much. And it's gonna be very difficult to do anything other than chop this very fine. So I had previously collected and dried mugwort, and that's what I used. But you do have some issues when you try to run this through a food processor or coffee mill, and that is mugwort is incredibly fibrous. So what tends to happen is the fibers tend to bunch it up, so you get this cotton woolly like substance, and it's very difficult to try and make that work in any recipe. However, when this is happening, there is also, as you can see, some tiny mugwort powder that you can gather, and that's exactly what I did to be able to use this. Knowing this particular characteristic of mugwort is really important because it means that you can only use it in certain situations. If you have a milk or cream base that you're using, then you can infuse that with mugwort for the flavor. If you're using hot or melted butter, then you can infuse that with mugwort. But if you're using mugwort in something that requires your butter to be cold, as in pastry making, then you need to make sure that you are using powder. So now that I've explained the process, I hope that makes understanding where I inserted the mugwort easier to understand. And here is the recipe from Mr. Paul's Pantry that I used.